Hello, hello, hello. Auntie Pauline here. How y'all doing? Ah, I'm smiling. You might be wondering why I'm smiling, but once upon a time I was talking to a friend of mine, long time friend of mine, and I was sharing, things come up. And I was sharing with her the day I found out I was pregnant with my first child. I'm sort of hesitant with this one, and it really interests her, and it makes her laugh, and she called me wicked and stuff like those. No, she wants me to share it with you guys. I don't know. It's been a while because she keep asks me again if I'm not sharing it with you. I don't know what she want. If she want to call me wicked too. But when you're young and you do things that you don't not even conscious, or you might be pressured. They have a thing named peer pressure. Yeah. Sometimes you want to fit in, you want to be in the, you want to be in the attention span too. So you do things, and sometimes you are not that fortunate. you know you try to be as obedient as possible, and you try to follow the rules of both the church and your parents, and the rules of the doctrines of God. But sometimes you want to fit in, you want to find your place in society, and you do things out of the way, and when you end up, you are not the expert on it, so you are the one that get caught. Right? Have you ever had that experience before? Well, that's what happened to me. you know I have that experience, but I'm a bit hesitant because there's one particular part in it where that stands out, what you call me wicked, and that's what you want you to hear. you know I don't know how. And it's been a while now, and when I'm talking about, like, my son is what, that's when I got pregnant with my first child. That's my son and my only son. Remember, I told you I have five children. The youngest one is 28. Yeah, they are all adults now, right? So my son is about what, 38, 39, somewhere along the line. Brain is getting old too. So you can imagine how many years that you want me to tell you. Well, there's no shame into my game right now. I surpassed that, and I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna share it with you guys, but it's gonna take some time. So I might have to do a part or a follow up, a part two. I mean, because if I started it, I might have to come with something to back it up, and But let me see how best I can do it. I was going to a prominent high school. Yes, I'm the only child out of the seven of us who go to high school. In those days, we have high school and we have secondary. And I was the fifth. I'm the fifth of seven. So I'm the third to last one, yes. And I'm the only child that goes to prominent high school. Not because I was my mother's favorite, but because I was the only one who would sit the exam and pass that exam. Right. So I was granted you know, a place in prominent high school, which is Herbert Marcel, which we call Compre now. Yeah, I went to Compre. So, and the others went to Malden Secondary. Right. So, and I must admit that I was my mother's favorite. Not that she didn't like the others, she loved all her children, but it's like I was a tomboy. I do everything. I wasn't afraid to take on any challenge, right? So I do everything. I cook, I work in the field, the plantation, I carry the water, I go and look the wood. Those times it was outside kitchen. I do just about anything. I used to climb tree. As long as the tree have limb, me can hold on from. Me used to climb, me used to plant me one at ground. I used to do a lot. I was like, I multitask. I could do just about anything, even if it turn out and not turn out good, but me always love to try experiment. So that's me. So my mother and my father, they could always count on me for just about anything. And I think I failed them badly. And but now, I live to regret it, but now I'm happy within myself where I am at now and with them. My father is now deceased, and I'm so sorry that he deceased before I could really say, I helped him, in whatever little way I could, but to know that I'm now on my own and I can, my children are out of school, so I don't have to support them anymore, and I could spend on my father, give what I can, but that's the way of life. But this one gonna be interested, and I, the video already gone 6 minutes and over almost 7 minutes, and I can't go more than 11 minutes and 22 seconds in one video. So that's why I said I have to cut it. I have to do a part two, or might join it then, so to speak. But nevertheless, I'll let me digest this one first. I'm gonna let you know what took place, all right? So give me a moment to breathe. Natasha, I hope you get your desire. I'm gonna say it, right? My friend Natasha, she wanted me to share it. So I'm gonna do it, all right? So tune in, stay tuned. Okay, so from ever since I was growing up, I always want to look my best. I'm always this tall girl, but very slim, and I'm always this good looking. I don't have teenage bumps. My face is just as smooth as it looks right now. That's how I used to look when I was growing up. I recently see this little pimple on my face and I scratch it, and you see it's getting dark. So I don't really carry acne, teenage bumps, pimples. I have stuff like those. My face is always smooth and cool, right? So I take very great pride in my face, in my body, in my skin. I take pride in them. I always have my little soap wherever I go in. When I go to school, I have my little soap in my bag, and little piece of soap, and my rag, and me just me have every chance me get me their bathroom, I made a wash and me sap my face and me look nice. And I'm always looking good. I tell myself that I'm looking good. But the problem I used to have is I used to suffer with low self-esteem, and you know, and why I say that, because I always want to fit in. I don't have any friends. I don't know what happened. Nobody loves me. That's what I'm telling myself. You know, the girls at school, they make fun of me because I was tall, and I didn't call myself Maga. I mean, I see no bone push out, but me slim, and they always call me Langilala and all these things, Talis, and I didn't like those names. And they always make fun of me. So what I did was keep myself to myself. I didn't really have much friends, like one or two, right? But things I don't share with them, I keep to myself. I don't share with my parents, my sisters. No, I just they probably think I'm well, alright. I'm this jovial person. I used to joke around much, laugh much, but as they said, laughing is good medicine. So maybe that's what keeps me looking this young. but I didn't have much friends. And then I want to be in fitting with the other groups. With they always have boys around them, you know. And I always say, wow, oh no, boy, not talk to me. The least little thing they rush me. I remember a boy, his name was Robert. When I was at school, he gave me one fist, as meeting me say blinky, and all I could go is over one side and go ball. And I didn't do him anything, you know. Everybody was making fun, you know, and I joined in the fun. And he didn't hit the other ones, he hit me. And he hit me so hard that you know, I went aside, one side, and I went and I cried. So because of that, I just keep myself to myself. My parents know they couldn't afford to send me the way they want to. So whatever little they have, they give me. Whatever little they have, they would give to me. Right? Whatever little they have, they would give it to me. Sometimes all they give me was like enough just to buy those in those days when I was going to school. Patty, cocoa bread, and soft drinks. Soft drinks come in the long bottle with a little neck there, right? In any child, you see, with patty, cocoa bread, and soft drinks, or bun and cheese and soft drinks, a rich kid and the black them in my days. I'm talking up, I am 57 years old, so I'm talking way back then, right? So whenever you see them, whenever you see those children in class and they have their patty and their cocoa bread and then soft drinks, eating and drinking, those are, you'd call them rich kid and the black. No, if I can afford a patty, I cannot afford a cocoa bread with it, and I cannot afford a soft drink. I can't even afford a bag juice. So what I would do, I rather buy something to eat, whether a sugar bun, a patty, or if it is a cocoa bread, and then I go outside and I hide and I eat it. Sometimes I hide about around the school back. I sit by myself and I have a book. I always have a book there, holding down as pretending as if I was reading the book and I was eating because I don't want anybody to notice me. So that's how I used to, you know. And nobody knows how I felt at the time because I don't talk about my feelings. That's me. And even now, I don't really talk. So it gives me a hard time to just come on here and to say this. But, you know, I don't really talk about my feelings, you know. And even we are forbidden to eat, not to eat in the lab, in the laboratory. We are not supposed to eat in the lab. And sometimes when I'm tired of going around the school back to eat, I would just go by the lab. I stand at the lab, turn my back to the door, and I look like this, and I look like this, see if anybody is around watching me. And if they not, I don't see anybody, I would just step back way and push myself in the lab and sit on the stool at the doorway and keep peeping through the window if anybody is coming, and I quickly eat what I have, you know. I don't want anybody to see me eating like a dry goods, sugar bun and no drinks, and or patty and no drinks. One day I made the mistake though, and I went inside the classroom where everybody was. I stayed in the classroom and I bought something to eat. I don't remember if it was a patty or a sugar bun, but I know I bought something to eat. I could not afford the drink. I went into the classroom and my seat was at the back of the class and I sit there and I was like reading my book and I was eating. My head was down. The classroom was full, filled with children eating their patty, their cocoa bread, and their soft drinking their soft drink. And one mean girl, I mean, looked like she sh- showed the other children me point me to them, and instead of offering me genuinely some of their drink or so, they always call me by my last name and they said, Madore, you want some of my drink? And I know deep down that they were making fun of me because they weren't willing to give me share their drink with me because they saw me eating just dry goods and nothing drinking. So I said, no thanks, I'm okay. That's all right. No, thanks, I'm okay. And they giggle and they chuckle and they laugh away. Deep down embarrassment was killing me, man. I was so embarrassed. So, fast forward, time goes by. I reach 11th grade because I started school from 7th grade, and I was going on. Before that, as tall as I am, I did not take part in any form of sport. Why? Low esteem again, self esteem again. I always tell myself that if I run a race and lose it, they're gonna laugh me to scorn because I am the tallest, and the tallest cannot afford to come last. So I've rather not attempt it. So I did not. So each time we have like sports or PE, we would call it physical education, I would hide myself in the bathroom until that session is up. You know, go back. One day again, I made the mistake and I changed into my PE gears. Now, my mother was my dressmaker at the time. She made my PE gear, she made my uniform. Now, my PE gears, she made it with a wrong material, the same color, but the material was wrong. So it's like material two was too silky, so it dropped instead of it, stick out like this. So my bloomers now, she made it a little bit too, it wasn't too tall, but because of the material it dropped. So they can see my bloomers because my skirt wasn't tall enough or the bloomers was too tall then. So I put on my PE gears and I went on the netball field court, and we were playing netball, practicing netball that day. And after I was, sort of getting into the groove and enjoying myself, one girl came up shouting, Madure! Are your father making are your father making you shots? I felt so embarrassed. Everybody started to giggle because Maduri shots went down. And from that day, I take myself off the field. I don't go back. You understand? Because that is same bloomers I have to put on, and I don't want them to make fun of me again. I am easily embarrassed. But I I persevere until I reach 11th grade. No, on entering 11th grade, I I I don't know. I don't know how to put this one, but at the same time, I was going to church. I was a member of my church, baptized. Now, this young man, he came into the church. His father was a member, and he came into the church and he baptized in my church also. And we were there. He was 8 years older than me, so he was way, way older than me. And there and then, we were attracted to each other. And as I said before, I think it was because of peer pressure, wanted to fit in, and I fit right into his arms. Yes, I fit right into his arms. And I told myself I was in love. I was in love. Later on, I found out it wasn't love. It was the thing they call infatuation because I don't think that's how love works. But anyways, I fell right into his arms and things happened. You know what? I don't promise to give you any in details. So don't bother listen say oh details. We are all adults here, so we know what we are talking. You know what I'm talking about. But it wasn't the first time though that we had made love. But What I did, I don't even know what I was doing. I was 17 years old, and I was, I just wanted to fit in, as I said. So I do stuff. I saw other persons with their friends, their boyfriends, and stuff like those. And nobody noticed me. So here come this man. He noticed me, and yes, I just fit in. And it was a summer holiday. Now, back then, we used to get 3 full months of holiday from June, July, August. We used to have those 3 full months of holidays at home, and then we go back to school September. So it was, we were half on the holiday, and that's when I have the privilege of doing whatever I want behind my parents' back, because they will send me to the bush, they will send me up and down, everything, then call me. If you do this, do that. And I did not hesitate, because I know that each time I go on the road, I will see this man, and we will have our time together. And I will stop by his house, and we'll stop by here and there, and we talk and whatever. So it wasn't any problem for me. So, nevertheless, it was the 3 months has blown off, and it was time for me to go back to school, September. But before that 3 months, I realized June comes June, and I did not have any menstrual flow. I did not have my period, and I was wondering what is happening. I was wondering what is happening. I worried. I was worried. I wondered what was happening. No, when I was going to school in those days, when I was going to school in those days, they didn't teach us about sex and contraceptives and stuff like those. We weren't learning about those things. My parents didn't teach me about it. They didn't tell me anything about it. So I didn't know, even not even menstruation. I know I have a knowledge that yes about the menstruation, but what I think menstruation was is that it's gonna come today and go tomorrow. I didn't know that it's a prolonged thing. It's gonna take some time in a week, and then the following month you're gonna. I didn't know about that. So even my first time seeing my menses, it was my sister who found out, because I've realized that things is happening to me, and I did not tell anybody, but it messed up my uniform. That time I was wearing a cream uniform, it messed my uniform when I reached home, and my sister saw, noticed, and told my mother about it. And that was the time when my mother called me one side and asked me about it. And I told her yes. And she called my bigger sister now, and my bigger sister, she asked my bigger sister to show me how to use the sanitary thing there. And let me tell you something about the sanitary thing, and that is the one that my friend wants me to tell you about. Oh, I tricked my mother. In those days, the sanitary napkin that we used to use, it was called CFX. I don't know who remember those things. I know young persons not gonna know it, because they use more stylish and stush things. But back in those days, we have a thing named CFX. Now CFX, you see all this remote long, it longer than the remote, and it broad. Anybody know maternity pad? Something like that. And it comes with a small string here, something here, and that small one at the end here. So what you have to do now, or you have to wear that thing. You remember when they say donkey gooper, when they tie the donkey harness, no laugh. Me say that we used to use. So when we we have to get a piece of string and tie around the waist, because with this end of the CFX and this end, we have to put it under and use this end, tie on the string here, and use the next end, tie on the string at the back. So to keep it, right? So it was like a donkey grouper. So that is that is what we used to use. But not everybody in my household were privileged to use it because it was affordable. It wasn't affordable. It was my mother couldn't afford because it was four girls of us. My mother couldn't afford to buy them. So what she did, only my bigger sister was, using those. My bigger sister was using it. So what my mother did, she get white. Oh Lord. She get white material, like, you remember baby nappy, and it not even so thick. So get white material and she cut them in square, big enough, and she gave them to us. So now, what we have to do when we wear them, we have to roll them just like, oh, in the shape of the CFX, and we have to get them and we use them and we tie them. No, you can imagine how that keep, and we don't mess up yourself, because that no, have no plastic. The red, it don't have no plastic. So each time we have to change and we have to wash them. We cannot throw them away. We have to wash them and spread them out with them dry, that we can use them again. And that we can use them again, and we have to continue to use them month after month. So we have to have those in our little box and with our little underwear, and we fold them properly and we have to wash them and we put them on the line. So that is what we used to use. So my mother called my sister and tell her, go and show her how to use one of the CFX. So my sister had CFX, so she called me and she showed me how to use it and how to tie the string at my waist, and to use tie it at the front and tie at the back. Now you have to be careful you don't have a bulge at the back there, because when you go to school, children trouble you too. If there's no bulge at the back, because they know say I hit you up, and every picnic wear them there's something there. And the one them I cannot afford. Yeah. One that whose parents cannot afford it. So that is what we used to use. So the tricky part of it now, I realized that I missed my period and I was worried sick. And I asked the man over and over, what happened? And he was saying, don't worry, nothing happened. You have coal you're catching in your belly. 1 month gone, July, whole of July, nothing. Whole of August, nothing. I realized now that I was growing, you know. But what I did for my mother not to notice, every month, June, I wash. I went outside, we have it's an outside bathroom that is joined to the outside toilet. Yeah, it was pit toilet and it was latrine, as you call it. And my father make a bathroom on the outside where you can go in there and you bathe. That bathroom, you carry water from a river or pipe and you come with your basin and you put it out in there. And I wash, every month I wash. And I spread it on the wire for my mother to see. Yes. So that is the part that my friend said I'm wicked because I tricked my mother, let you think that I was having my menstrual flow each month. So I don't know how to tell her. I don't know how to tell my father, not even my sisters, because I told you I don't tell anybody, I don't talk to anybody about those things. So each month I wash. When it come at a certain time of the month, say I was having my menstrues like the 23rd of each month. So every 23rd for about 3 days, me wash, or 4 days, me wash every day. Me wash them and me spread them out on the wire. So my mother saw that I was washing and I was spreading out. So she was relaxed. Didn't have any reason, because she didn't know that I have a boyfriend. So she didn't have any reason to think that I was pregnant. even though my belly was growing. And one particular time I realized she was looking, staring at me, and I hurried and walked away because she sees something, but she's not alert. That's the thing, she's not alert, you know? So she dismissed it. So September come and I went to school. Now the other wicked part that I did, and I regret it, that I do regret too. I was to get two major textbooks, and they were nowhere in Montego Bay bookstore. The only place they could get it is in Kingston, and my brother-in-law was going to Kingston, and my father didn't have the money to give him to buy. So you know what he did? He sell his cow. And I could not say, Papa, no do it. I wanted so much to say, no sell the cow. But I could not. I don't know who to tell him to not sell the cow. Can I go ask him, what making of the sell the cow? You know? And I was like, I am not. One of the book was certificate mathematics, and the other one was chemistry. I mean, it's so many years, and I cannot forget two books: certificate mathematics and chemistry. And my father sell the cow, give the money to my brother-in-law. When he went into Kingston, he bought the books and he bring back to me. No, 3 weeks into 11th grade. 3 weeks I spent in 11th grade. No, my parents, we have morning and evening devotions. And if we miss out on evening devotion, we can't miss out on morning devotions. So each morning we have to get up early, like 4 o'clock or 4:30, and we have our devotions. And then we rush off. Who is gonna get ready for school? Who is gonna get ready for get the breakfast ready? Who is gonna do this? Everybody do their different chores. No, whenever I after devotion, I have to get ready to catch the bus to school. So I have to go and get ready for school. So on this particular Thursday morning, and I won't forget, my father he went to prayer meeting that Wednesday night, and I had a close friend. He was a male. I have more males friend than female. He was a male, and we were talking, and he realized how sad I looked, and he asked me what happened. I said nothing. He said, no man, that's not you. And he said, what happened? And I would not tell him. I would not tell him. But while he was asking me, my eyes were filled with water because I realized that I was pregnant. I realized I was pregnant, and I don't know what to do. I don't know, have nobody to talk to, because then and there I stopped talking. Right away I stopped talking to my boyfriend, so to speak, because after I found out that he lied to me, say I'm having a cold in my belly, and then I realized that yes, I was pregnant, so I stopped talking to him. hmm Stopped talking to him. And you know what? Before I stopped talking to him, one day, before I get there, let me backtrack a little. As I am talking, it keep coming back to me. One day I went, I think it was a Sunday morning. I prepared my mother breakfast, and I took it to the bush. She was at the bush early, so I have to prepare breakfast and to take it to the bush. When I went to the bush, she said to me, because somebody told her that I'm talking to somebody, to this guy, and that's the time she wanted to talk to me. She asked me if I have a boyfriend. And because I know I was pregnant, I didn't hide it anymore. I said yes. She said, who is he? And I told him. And he said, but he no older than you, man. He not too old for you. I say yes. She said to me, but by the way, I not think you're ready for boyfriend yet. Finish your schooling first. And she started, that's the time she wanted to talk to me, but it was too late because I was already pregnant, you know. And when she talked to me, I said to myself, gosh, why didn't she tell me all these things before? Right away, I realized that a hatred started to develop in me for this man, and I couldn't talk to him again. A sort of hatred developed, and I said, you know what? At that time, I wasn't sure I was pregnant, but I know I missed my period, and this boy is telling me that he's cool. So I went out. I went home and I wrote a letter, and I told him about how I feel and that the relationship is over. I saw him passing by on a truck back, and I signaled to him that I wanted to see him, and he said okay, but that's the letter I have to give him. I hesitate. I hesitate with the letter because I want to be sure. Because if I'm pregnant, I can't run this man who will take care of my child, you know. So after he confessed to me, yes, it's pregnant, I'm pregnant, I tear up the letter. He asked me what I wanted to see him for. I said nothing. And I started to cry and I walked away. And that was the last time in 3 months I talked to him. It was not until my friend asked me what happened and I told him reluctantly, and I told him. And he said, never mind, you will be okay. He asked me, who is the father? I told him. I said, even if you don't take care of that child, you will be okay and the child will be okay. Don't worry. And I feel like it's a relief and stuff like that. But still, my parents didn't know. And I was like, wow, what am I going to do? Parents didn't know. So, anyways, you hear what I'm saying? Say, I have many friends and what? How the saying go again? And keep them well, but not to them your secret tell. Because when your friends become your foe out in the world, your secret go. Something like that. Because believe it or not, your friend, your close friend, have another close friend who is not your friend, because this friend, he have another friend who is not my friend, and that's how my father found out that I was pregnant. My father went to prayer meeting, and my friend that I told, he told a friend of his, another male friend. That male friend, grandmother, we all go to the church together. So my father and that grandmother met at prayer meeting that night, and she told my father about my pregnancy because her grandson told her. My father now, after I came home from prayer meeting that Wednesday night, we were all sleeping. And you can imagine the agony what my mother got through that night. Me can just imagine, sometimes even though when I think about it. Because when my father come in Wednesday night, nobody think he keep it to himself, he say to my mother. Right? And apparently he told my mother not to wake me up and not to say anything to me. So that Thursday morning, after we finish devotion, when we are saying our prayers, we have to kneel down on our knees. And I was kneeling, and all of us was kneeling. And when the prayer say Amen, and I was getting off to rush off to go get ready for school again, I only hear my father with a stern voice, you sit down here, so. Can you imagine? Just put yourself in my situation. You know, say, you get a belly in front of you. Your parents don't know. And only fear your father say, you sit down here, so. Me say, if the hurt could have opened and take me in, trust me. If the hurt could have opened and take me in, believe you me, it wasn't a pretty one. Guess what? This video is getting too long. I'm gonna cut it and I'm gonna do a part 2, because after my father say, you sit down, yes, so you want to know what happened next, right? Don't you want to know what happened next? So listen up in part 2 what took place after my father said, you sit down, yes, so. Because that was the end of my schooling, right? So if you like my video, And if you want to hear more, just t- tell me in the comment section. I'm not tricking you. I'm gonna tell you. I will have to do a part two, but this is too long, right? I have to do a part two. So just hit the like button and share it, because this is not anything I'm boasting about. I'm proud of. The only thing I'm proud of right now is that my children are big and they're on their own, and I am over that, right? So this is the lesson for any youngster to learn from, and I do open trust that persons are learning from my mistakes. Okay, so hit the like button, share it, and comment. And if you are watching my video and you are not yet subscribed, please do so. Subscribe to Auntie Pauline's channel. Love you guys.